Good afternoon. My name is Kristen Clarke, Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division at the U.S. Department of Justice. I am joined today by Ashley Hoff, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Texas, Jennifer Lowry, Acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Texas, Nicholas Ganji, Acting U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Texas, and Chad Meacham, Acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. We are here today to announce that the U.S. Department of Justice is launching a comprehensive statewide civil rights investigation into Texas's secure juvenile facilities. We are conducting this investigation pursuant to the Civil Rights of Institutionalized Persons Act and the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act. Both of these federal laws authorize the Department of Justice to investigate whether conditions in juvenile justice institutions comply with the requirements of the United States Constitution and federal law. Our investigation will focus on whether there is a pattern or practice of physical or sexual abuse of children in Texas's secure facilities. We will also investigate whether there is a pattern or practice of harm as a result of the excessive use of chemical restraints, excessive use of isolation, or a lack of adequate mental health services. Children are committed to juvenile facilities like those in Texas in order to receive treatment and rehabilitation. This is the very reason that the juvenile justice system exists, to keep children out of the criminal system and to provide them with rehabilitative treatment and services instead of punishment. But all too often, children in correctional facilities like those at issue here are abused, mistreated, and deprived of essential services. And because they are children still growing and developing, they are uniquely vulnerable to harm and abuse inside these institutions. Being subjected to harmful conditions does not rehabilitate children. It only leads to worse life outcomes. Children of color, as well as those with disabilities, disproportionately bear the brunt of harm caused by dangerous institutions. Nationally, Black children are over 4 times more likely to be incarcerated than white children. And the disparity is even greater in Texas, where Black children are over 5 times more likely to be incarcerated. Children with disabilities are likewise significantly overrepresented in juvenile facilities. State officials have a constitutional obligation to ensure reasonable safety for children in these institutions, and the Department of Justice is committed to protecting the rights of children who end up in such facilities. No child who is sent to a Texas facility for treatment and rehabilitation should be subjected to violence and abuse, nor denied basic services. Based on an extensive review of publicly available information and information gathered from stakeholders, we find significant justification to open this investigation today. Over the last few years, and as recently as last week, at least 11 facility staff members have been arrested for sexually abusing the children in their care. While persons charged are presumed innocent unless convicted, these arrests support a need for a thorough investigation. There are reports of other misconduct by staff members. For example, staff members have reportedly paid children with drugs and cash to assault other children. There are also reports of staff sharing pornographic material with children. There are also reports of staff members' use of excessive force on children, including kicking, body slamming, and choking children to the point of unconsciousness. In an incident from last February, staff reportedly pepper sprayed a child and placed him in full mechanical restraints, including handcuffs, a belly chain, shackles, and a spit mask, and then body slammed him onto a bed. We've also received information suggesting that children are not receiving adequate mental health care. There are reports of at least 2 possible suicides in recent years. Additionally, the number of youths with serious self-injuries in Texas's secure facilities in 2019 more than doubled compared to the year before. The Department of Justice is committed to ensuring that children who end up in secure correctional facilities are safe and provided with the services, care, and protection that the Constitution and federal law require. The department is likewise committed to protecting the rights of children at earlier stages within the juvenile justice system, when exercise of those rights could help steer children away from institutions that are often harsh and non-rehabilitative, and instead toward the supports and services they need to become productive adults. I'd like to highlight a few examples of how our cases have addressed systemic deficiencies at all stages of the juvenile justice system over the years. In Meridian, Mississippi, the Justice Department entered an agreement with the city after finding that its police department was arresting children for minor school-based offenses without probable cause, thereby helping to dismantle its school-to-prison pipeline. In Shelby County, Tennessee, as well as in St. Louis County, Missouri, the department entered agreements aimed at ensuring that children facing delinquency charges were afforded constitutionally required due process protections, such as access to counsel, the right to be free from self-incrimination, and the right to timely probable cause determinations. The department's agreements with both Shelby and St. Louis counties also required the jurisdictions to address racial disparities in how Black and white children are treated at various points within the county's systems. In South Carolina, in another investigation involving a state juvenile justice facility, we recently issued findings that the state fails to keep children reasonably safe from harm caused by punitive and excessive isolation, as well as harm inflicted by other children. Here in Texas, a team of career civil rights attorneys from the Special Litigation Section of the Civil Rights Division will be joined by career lawyers from the United States Attorney's offices in Texas in conducting the investigation. The investigation will be independent, thorough, and fair. We have not made and we will not make any conclusions until our investigation is complete. But if our investigation reveals reasonable cause to believe there is a systemic constitutional violation, we will provide written notice to Texas of the violation or violations, along with the supporting facts and the minimal remedial measures. We will seek to work cooperatively with the state to establish solutions to any problems that our investigation uncovers. To be clear, protecting the rights of children throughout the juvenile justice system is a top priority for the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. We will continue to protect children from abuse and other harm in secure correctional institutions like the Texas facilities. We will also continue our work to ensure that all children are afforded the constitutional protections to which they are entitled in the administration of juvenile justice. As Frederick Douglass once observed, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. I want to now turn the floor over to Acting U.S. Attorney Hoff, who will offer remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm honored to be here today with Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clarke on behalf of the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, and with my colleagues from the Texas United States Attorney's offices. Two of the secure juvenile facilities in Texas that will be under investigation in this matter are located within the boundaries of the Western District of Texas. That's the district I represent. Our office is committed to protecting the safety and constitutional rights of all, including these young people that are held in these facilities and in other secure juvenile facilities throughout the state of Texas. As we just heard, these young persons are uniquely vulnerable to harm and abuse during incarceration, hindering not only their physical and mental health, but also their prospects for rehabilitation and for going on to lead productive lives outside the walls of these institutions. To demonstrate our commitment to this review, Assistant United States Attorneys from our office here in the Western District of Texas will participate in this investigation in partnership with the Civil Rights Division and with the other United States Attorney's offices throughout the state. We look forward to collaborating across district lines in furtherance of a common mission, and that is to protect the constitutional rights of incarcerated juveniles through a fair and complete federal investigative process. Thank you so much for having me today and for letting me speak on this important matter. I will now turn the floor over to my esteemed colleague, Jennifer Lowry, Acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of Texas.
Thank you, Ashley. Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here with my colleagues from the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division and my fellow Texas districts acting and U.S. attorneys. Young people, even though they are confined in a juvenile facility, should not be abused, mistreated, or deprived of essential services. As Assistant Attorney General Clarke expressed, it is our obligation to investigate this matter fully and fairly. We have a duty to ensure that young people incarcerated in our state are held under safe and constitutional conditions. The Southern District of Texas spans 43 counties, covering 44,000 square miles, and we represent close to 9 million people. A portion of that population includes the young people that are being held at Evans Regional Juvenile Center in Edinburgh, Texas. Our office will work in full partnership with the Civil Rights Divisions and my U.S. Attorney colleagues throughout the state of Texas to fully investigate this matter. We look forward to collaborating with everybody. Now I would like to pass this to my esteemed colleague, the Acting U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Texas, Nicholas Ganji. He is not able to unmute himself, Ariel.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicholas Ganji, and I'm the Acting United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Texas. I am pleased to be here today on behalf of the district, alongside our partners from the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division and our colleagues from our fellow Texas U.S. Attorney's offices. The Texas Juvenile Justice Department operates the Gainesville State School, a juvenile corrections facility in Gainesville, Texas, located within Cook County in the Eastern District of Texas. Children committed to juvenile facilities are entitled to receive treatment and rehabilitation rather than punishment. And the Eastern District of Texas is committed to safeguarding and protecting the constitutional rights of all Texas children, including those in state custody. To that end, the Eastern District has partnered with the Civil Rights Division and the other United States Attorney's offices in Texas to investigate these allegations. We look forward to collaborating across district lines to conduct a thorough and fair investigation into this matter, and to do so with the utmost integrity and professionalism. With that, I'll now turn it over to Acting United States Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Chad Meacham. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Kristen, for having us here today. I'm Chad Meacham, Acting United States Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. Protecting juveniles' constitutional rights is mission critical for the Department of Justice. No matter who they are, no matter what they've done, they deserve a safe environment to be housed in. The facility under investigation in my jurisdiction, or in my district, is the Ron Jackson State Juvenile Correctional Complex in Brownwood, Texas. And it normally houses up to about 140 girls at one time or another. According to the Texas Juvenile Justice Department's own research, when girls enter the system, they enter the juvenile justice system with a lot of trauma. 86% have been reported to have suffered what's called adverse childhood events, things like domestic violence, parental substance abuse, or mental illness. 63% are placed on suicide watch after they're incarcerated, and more than 90% are deemed at risk of sexual exploitation. We always hope that these girls, after their period of incarceration, will return to society, ready to re-engage in a productive lifestyle, continue their education, begin a career, and contribute to their communities. But we cannot expect them to thrive once they get out if they emerge from confinement after they've been traumatized by sexual abuse, excessive force, or incessant isolation. Given all this, we've been particularly troubled by the news coming out of the facility in our district, especially reports of sexual misconduct by staff. I have every confidence that the majority of Texas juvenile correction officers are doing their dead level best to do right by these kids. But if there are bad actors or systematic problems that are violating young people's rights, we are determined to root those out. Of course, I want to reemphasize that we haven't yet determined if any such violations have occurred, but we are proud to stand with the Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Division, and each other as we look into this matter. Thank you.
We now have time for a couple of questions. If you would like to ask a question, please use the raise your hand function in Zoom. Again, if you would like to ask a question, please use the raise your hand function. First question comes from Sarah Lynch with Reuters. Sarah, please unmute.
Hi, thanks for doing this. I assume this probably isn't relevant to this, but I just thought I would ask. There's also been a lot of reports about mistreatment of undocumented migrants in Texas. And I was wondering, are any of those migrants, are they ever housed in some of these facilities that are part of your investigation, or is that something that will be part of what you're looking at? Thanks.
Thank you for that question. While I can't confirm the numbers of undocumented juveniles who may be held in these facilities, we anticipate that they may be. We will be looking at the treatment of all juveniles held in facilities across the state.
The next question comes from Gabrielle Banks with the Houston Chronicle. Please unmute.
Hi there. Thank you for taking the question. I'm wondering if you can talk about what the impetus for this particular investigation is. Was it one event? Was it a series of events? Why Texas and why now?
Thank you for that question. The Justice Department conducted an extensive review of publicly available information, and here that included news reports, public documents, information that we gathered from stakeholders and advocates. So after reviewing this information, this led us to opening this investigation today. And I will underscore that looking at prison conditions and the conditions inside of institutions where young people are detained is a priority issue for the Civil Rights Division at the Justice Department.
Thank you. The last question comes from username, last name is Phillips. If you could please state your first name as well as your outlet.
Hang on. Now do you have me?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, this is I'm with KRLD News, LP Phillips. I'd like to toss this question to Chad. Regarding Brownwood, is this something that you have been hearing just anecdotally, or is there something that tripped up? Did somebody come forward to this? And go a little bit into where you think your investigation may head into this. Is it going to be the administration of the place, or have they been cooperating with you?
I'm sorry, I think that was that question for
Chad
Mr. Meacham.
Yeah, it's for Chad. Chad, can you hear me?
Yes, I was trying to unmute myself. Sorry about that. I cannot comment on the specifics of the investigation or where it's going. There are some news reports that have come out of the facility in Brownwood. But other than that, I don't have anything I can share at this point in time. But thank you very much for your interest and your question.
Thank you. Last question, Kevin Johnson, USA Today.
Hi, good afternoon. I guess this is for Assistant Attorney General Clarke. To what extent are the Texas authorities cooperating with you, if at all?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Today marks day one of our formal investigation. In the road ahead, We will be meeting with state officials. We will be looking at documents. We will look at materials concerning policies and trainings. We will conduct interviews of people who work inside these facilities regarding specific allegations. We will evaluate categories of incidents. So, we're at the starting point of a formal investigation, and much work lies ahead. But ensuring that the conditions inside these facilities meet constitutional standards and meet the requirements set forth by federal law is the core priority as we now move forward with this investigation.
But did your initial review include any discussions with Texas officials about the problems that you had observed?
Yes, we have formally notified the state that we have opened this investigation. So state officials are on notice.
Great. Thank you all for joining us today. We are out of time for questions. Thank you all for participating.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.